Google, you use it every day. We all do. In fact, everyone around the world uses it every day. But who are the people inside Google? No, I'm not talking about inside your computer, but the ones inside that beautiful Silicon Valley campus. Turns out there is another campus nearby in Northern California. Actually, look at it. It's more of a compound. It's called the Oregon House, and it's home to hundreds of members of the Fellowship of Friends. That's what it's called, the Fellowship of Friends, which some say is actually a cult. 500 members live in or around the lush compound, which once featured a very lucrative vineyard, an amphitheater, and a mansion. And now a former Google employee claims that the two campuses are in fact connected in ways that Google may not want to admit. Kevin Lloyd, who is not a fellowship member, was fired from his job in a Google division, where about half of his coworkers were made up of those from the religious sect, including the head of the division, his boss. Lloyd has filed a lawsuit claiming discrimination. The fellowship was founded in 1970 by a teacher who believed that most go through life in a, quote, waking sleep, but are capable of higher awareness, and those who are fully aware will reinvent civilization and the apocalypse. It's all very strange. It's hard to understand. I want to stop here and I want to bring in Charlotte Edwards. She is the senior technology and science reporter for the U.S. Sun. Also with us is Dr. Stephen Hassan. He is a PhD and an expert in cults at the Freedom of Mind Resource Center. Charlotte, let me start with you. Google says they fired this employee because, frankly, they say he was just not a good employee. Do you think that's what's going on here? Or do you think there is actually this very strange, fishy cult in the background?
So a Google spokesperson spoke to me for an article I wrote for the US Sun and said that Kevin Lloyd was fired due to performance issues and not due to the fact that he raised any issues about a cult or a cult-like group called Fellowship of Friends. But Kevin Lloyd maintains that he was fired from a specific section of Google called the Google Developers Studio. This looks into videos and creates videos for Google, and about 12 of its members or former members are said to have been part of Fellowship of Friends. So Mr. Lloyd spoke out about this and claims he was dismissed because of that, whilst Google is telling me he was dismissed because of his performance.
Very interesting. Dr. Hassan, I want to bring you in because you're an expert on all of this. What exactly is this thing called the Fellowship of Friends? The compound certainly looks very interesting. Is this actually a cult?
So over my 45 years of full-time help of cult members, I've had the opportunity to counsel many former members of this group. And I do consider them to be an authoritarian cult. The leader, Robert Burton, claims to be godlike, in touch with angels. I've talked with people who allege that he raped them multiple times, heterosexual men, I should add. And I just want to call your listeners to remember the Nexium cult case of Keith Raniere, who's serving 120 years right now for trafficking, labor and sex trafficking.
So we all use Google every day, Dr. Hassan. Do you think we need to be worried that so many people from what you call a cult are working behind the scenes at Google?
I use Google also, and I don't think it's a great worry, but it does raise a very important question about infiltration into legitimate corporations and businesses by authoritarian cult members who have an allegiance to the leader and not necessarily to the rules of the law or to the company rules. And I think it opens up the door for further investigation by Google. I don't know any details about this specific case, but I know this group. And in fact, there was a whole podcast on Spotify about this group called Revelations.
Very interesting. We know that Google says that they are looking into it right now. Charlotte, do you think this man, this former employee, has a case?
I mean, he will have to prove that he was not fired due to work conduct or not performing in the way that they wanted him to perform. And if he can collate that evidence and put a case forward, then Google is going to have to prove with good evidence that he wasn't performing in the way that they wanted. He wasn't creating the video content that they wanted. So I think he should be able to put a good case together if it is the case that he was performing well.
And I want to read you what Google has said. This is what their spokesperson released. They say, "It is against the law to ask for the religious affiliations of those who work for us or for our suppliers, but we will, of course, thoroughly look into these allegations for any irregularities or improper contracting practices." That's because many of these people worked for a contractor. "If we find evidence of policy violations, we will take action." Dr. Hassan, I want to ask you, based on what you know about this group, what do you think their motivation was, or do you think there was a motivation to have so many members all working for Google in one specific department?
So the way it has worked over the decades and lots of other cults, Scientology comes to mind, but there are many, many other cults. All you need is one cult member into a corporation, and then they start recommending their friends from the cult. And my understanding is this cult is a mandatory 10% tithe. So every single employee that gets a very nice salary needs to give 10% to Robert Burton. And it is a concern. And for me, the issue isn't religion. The issue is human rights, deceptive recruitment, and mind control, controlling people's behavior, information, thoughts, and emotions to make people dependent and obedient to a person who is manipulating and exploiting his role as an authority figure.
And Dr. Hassan, this isn't the first time we've seen something right like this, right? I know in the past Scientology has actually infiltrated the IRS of all things. What can you tell us about that?
So Scientology didn't have a tax exempt status for, I think, over 25 years. I've actually interviewed former executives of Scientology who told me the inside story, and they fraudulently filled out the application. They harassed IRS commissioners, sued them, and then they made a deal. And in my opinion, Scientology is, as with the Fellowship of Friends, decided it was just advantageous tax-wise, and to give them a cloak of some protection by saying we're a religion, so you can't question our beliefs. But my work is about behaviors. And I do think Google could do a service to all their employees to teach them how to evaluate the difference between an ethical and an unethical cult, because there are ethical cults where you have free choice, you can leave without fear or harassment, you can read whatever you want to read, talk to whoever you want to talk to. And I think there's a very good chance that this man was fired because they tried to recruit him, he looked them up, and he started questioning. And the last thing cult members want is somebody who's, asking direct questions against their leader.
So interesting that this was going on allegedly inside Google. We all know how powerful Google is, Charlotte. Do you think they settle this outside of court, Charlotte? Do you think this ends up going to court, going to trial? Are we going to learn more about all of this? How do you think this plays out?
I mean, it's definitely possible that they could settle it outside of court. There's been no word on a court date yet. Google has been very ambiguous with their statements, saying that they're looking into it and that this kind of behavior is illegal. And then if they were aware of it happening, they would take action. So they've been very ambiguous, and it's unclear. They obviously won't want it to go to court because a lot of other things could come out about the activities at Google. So it is definitely possible that they will settle it outside.
Yeah, this is one we're definitely going to have to keep an eye on. Charlotte Edwards and Dr. Stephen Hassan, thank you so much. We appreciate you coming on tonight.
Thank you.
You're welcome.